Good afternoon. Welcome to the class of Spark Plug. So, myself, Francis Agustin Joseph, your lecturer for this particular session. I believe that all of you are very familiar with the term spark plug, since it is very common whenever you have an automobile. And it's a basic idea that always we use spark plug for petrol engines, because in diesel engine we are having fuel injector. In these recent trends, we can see that we are preferring petrol engine for home use due to the low pollution rate and low cost. So it is very mandatory that you should be having an awareness about spark plug, since it is a vital part of the functioning of a petrol engine. Here on the screen you can see the real-time picture of a spark plug, and from here we can just have an idea. This is called the insulator, where it separates the central electrode from the remaining part of the engine. We are having a body end, and here the most important factor of the spark plug gap. So this particular gap, as we can see here, this is the main reason why a spark is obtained inside the engine cylinder. Anyway, we will be detailing all these things in the coming slides. So here we are having an idea about working principle of a spark plug. Basically, this particular spark plug works on the idea or the principle that whenever we are applying a high voltage potential between two electrodes, among which one is earth, automatically or normally the tendency of the high voltage electrons will be to jump over the small gap in between the electrodes and to reach the negative terminal or grounded terminal. So whenever the electrons jumps over this small gap, obviously there will be a production of a small spark. And there will be a question among yourself, how we can obtain this high voltage inside a automobile. There we are having a ignition system or starting system, where we'll be using electromagnetic induction principle, and we'll be having a sudden collapse of all the voltage, and we'll be having a high voltage which will be obviously transferred to the spark plug. So what we are going to see next is the major components of a spark plug and the idea why it is there on this particular system. We will start with this particular terminal. As you can see here, this is the terminal over here. It will be the connection base for a spark plug. High voltage from the electrician system or starting system will be taken to the distributor. From the distributor, it will be transferred to the corresponding spark plug. So the spark plug will be receiving the high voltage using this terminal, and this terminal is in turn connected to a central electrode. So this terminal will receive the high voltage and it will transfer it through this way to the central electrode, as you can see here. We are having a spring system over here in order to make sure that always the central electrode is maintaining the minimum gap in between the central electrode as well as the grounded electrode or side electrode. So we are having an insulator, as you can see here. Insulator always protects the central electrode or the electrode which carries the high voltage from the rest of the engine. In any case, we cannot ask this particular system to have a leakage, because whenever there is a leakage, the high voltage will be transferred to the entire body and it will be having a loss of spark plug function. And again, this particular shell will be having a provision for keeping it on tact on the engine displacement position, because whenever you are going to tie this to the engine cylinder, we'll be having some positions where we have to lock this particular spark plug. And you can see here some type of grooves on this, or the threads on which we are having the fixation of the spark plug. These threads will be tightened into a groove where it will be threaded, and these threads will support the system to be intact with the position of the engine. And obviously, as a conclusion, what we can say is that the high voltage produced in the starting system of the engine will be transferred to the spark plug. It will be received by the terminal in turn will transfer it to the central electrode, and when the high voltage comes over to this particular point, we are having a gap. As you can see here, there is a small gap, and this particular side electrode is grounded. So obviously the huge potential difference between the two electrodes will compulsorily ask the electrons from the high voltage side to jump over to the side electrode, and when the electrons jump from the central electrode to the side electrode, it will produce a spark, which in turn will start the ignition inside the combustion chamber. So this is all about the spark plug. And regarding the spark plug maintenance, always make sure that the gap is intact and there is no carbon deposit due to the high combustion rates. And whenever there is a carbon deposit, you have to clean it up and you can do refix it up. And in case the vehicle is going to a water lag, and there will be possibility that water can enter the spark plug, so that the functioning of the spark plug is detained. In case of such kind of situations, we can clean the spark plug and reinitiate the system. So thank you for listening to the spark plug class. Have a great day. Thank you.